62. Unison playing on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Actually, this video is going to cover pages 62 and 63 and 64 and 65 because it all kind of goes together. So I'll put starting times in the description of everything and explain what's going on. Let's just concentrate first on 62 and 63. Okay, simple little thing. We are playing octaves. We're playing basically the same notes in each hand, an octave apart. You start, there's D's and then A's. Don't like their fingering at all. I don't understand why they want to do this fingering like this. I think that's silly. Let's talk about the right hand here just a little bit. You're starting out with a thumb. Next measure is, they say, fifth finger. The problem I have with that is you need the fifth finger for the B, the next measure. And then they're using fifth finger again. I'm saying, what? I am going to suggest that you put the fourth finger on the A in the first line. So we have one in the first measure, and then fourth finger on the A, and then you can do the fifth finger. You can use the fourth finger again on the half note A, the last measure, but you're going to need the fourth finger again for the next measure. There's a way around that. How good are you? Let's do it this way. Starting at the beginning, you have a thumb on the first measure, fourth finger on the second measure. Just have to move your hand a little. You're not in a five finger position. You stretch it out. Put your third finger. Fifth finger on the B, fourth finger on the half note A. Now on the next line, the next measure, the first quarter note is third finger, second quarter note is fourth finger. Can you do that? You need to learn to do that eventually, so just learn to do it now, huh? And then you're good to go. So when you get this pattern, I recommend that same fingering throughout. It happens in a few other places. I don't want to point them all out. You'll find them when you get there. In the left hand, look what they're doing. Little finger, thumb, thumb, thumb. Yeah. Let's do this way. It's similar to the right hand. Let's start with a little finger, second finger on the A, thumb on the B's, second finger on the half note. On the next line, the first G is third finger, second G is second finger, because you need to. Can you do that? Eventually, do it without looking. You know, without looking at the keyboard, just do it. And you're back in position. That's the fingering I recommend here. I don't know why they're using thumbs and little fingers for all that junk. You don't need to. All right. They're saying non-legato, which is not connected. It's not staccato. It's just separated. Okay. It's just. It's like there's just a little rest between each note. It's like the between phrases thing. It's like each note is a separate phrase almost. It's not, of course, but the effect, the sound is you want a little break between each note. Now, this piece starts out in the key of D major. It's got two sharps, the F sharp and the C sharp. So all the Fs and all the Cs are sharped. You don't have any C's in it, so you only have to deal with the F sharps. Then look at the bottom of page 62, at the very end of that line. You see a natural sign where the sharps were. That's to cancel the sharps out. They have to cancel them out, all right? Otherwise, they're adding to what's already there. So they cancel the sharps out. Now they're introducing a flat. So now we're going to a new key. Now you would expect F major. We were in D major. Now you expect F major, right? Wrong. They're throwing you a twist. It's not F major, it's its relative minor, D minor. And I can tell that just by looking at the music there on page 63. Okay, that's not F major, that's D minor. And the fingering, I would still recommend the same style fingering as we were doing on page 62, even though the black note tends to mess it up. Now you will notice that it's going from the key of D major to D minor. Okay, we call those parallel because they're starting on the same note. So that's a parallel minor. D minor is the parallel minor to D major. Okay. The relative minor is the minor with the same key signature. So if we do that, D major has two sharps, then we have to go to B minor, which has two sharps. And that's relative. So for years, I got them confused. I couldn't remember which is parallel, which is relative. Just remember, parallel starts on the same note. All right. Down on the fourth line on page 63, you see a natural sign. This is at the beginning of the third measure. There's a natural sign that cancels the flats out, erasing those. Now we're putting the sharps back in. So now we're going back. Okay. I'd like to try this out with you. This pages 62 and 63. But I want to speed it up pretty much to closer to performance time, because there's a duet part on pages 64 and 65. Now what you can do here is you can play all of it. You can play both parts. So I'm going to record it in such a way that you can go back and forth. So on this one, we want to play 62 and 63 as though you're playing it. This way, when you get to pages 64 and 65, you can play the duet part while the video is playing this part. Or you know, if you have another piano player around who can do it all, then the two of you can play the pieces if you have a way of seeing the music. And then also you have to either use two keyboards or you have to move things up. I would recommend you move this up a couple of octaves, or at least one octave, and rather than playing here or here, I recommend you move it up a couple of octaves and play it here. That way the other parts on page 64, 65, they can play where they're supposed to play. Otherwise, you got to move those down a little bit, and you can move this up a little bit, and you figure out how you can play it all in one shot. I don't know. But let's play this 62 and 63 together. Okay. So I put the metronome on 90. It's a little closer to how fast it would go. It's not as fast as it should go, but it's closer. And let's go ahead and do this 62 and 63 together. So go ahead and put your hands where they go to start. Here we go. I'll give us 4 counts. It's in 2/4 time, but I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's go to pages 64 and 65 and discuss that. This is the accompaniment part that goes along with Twinkle Twinkle on the previous pages. So what you can do at one point is you can play pages 62 and 63 and let the video play these pages, and then you can switch it and play these pages while the video plays 62 and 63. Isn't that cool? This is what they call a chord etude. On that, what we're doing is we're simply playing the primary chords in these keys. In D major, you know what the 1 chord is? In both hands. 4 chord, 1 chord, 5/7 chord, 1 chord. See, it looks ugly. It isn't. That's all you're playing are these chords. On page 65, when it goes to D minor, again, 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 5/7 chord, 1 chord. That's all it is. So all of this ugly looking stuff is just chords. So if you know the chords and you know that what's going on in here, you can sight read this kind of stuff. All right? Because the eighth notes are nothing. You're just alternating. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. You know, 1 and 2 and thing. No, it's a piece of cake, really. So don't make it difficult. It's not. And look at that music and you think, oh, no, I can't play that. Actually, yes, you can once you take a look at it and see what it is. So I don't have anything special to say here. Again, with a metronome, we can't do it slowly when we get to the D minor. So we'll just keep it all one speed. If you have another piano player around, then you can do it slowly with them and have fun with it. The idea is a minor key is sort of a sadder key. So they're kind of suggesting you can play it a little slower because you're kind of sadder. I don't think a minor key has to be sadder necessarily, so I don't see why we have to play it slower. So let's do these pages together to make sure we're getting them okay, and then you can have fun doing the duet parts. So I'm going to give us 4 counts, and we'll begin. You're 1 chords to start with, so here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go, and